Diane Hatfield. I'm with Alair Homes, and we're here today to talk with Kristi Alexander, who is a commercial insurance specialist with Hotchkiss Insurance, about what homeowners need to know when they are considering hiring a contractor to come in and do work on their home. She wants to give us some great information about what you need to ask and what you need to be looking out for from the insurance standpoint, so that if something happens, you are not in trouble.
Yeah, thanks. Well, as Diane said, I'm Kristi and I work for Hotchkiss Insurance. And so one of the main things that I see a lot of the times is you see a contractor and they give you a business card, or you see it on the side of their truck or their van and it says bonded and insured. A lot of the times, a lot of people use those terms. They don't even know what those terms mean. They just slap it on the truck or on their business cards because it sounds good and it sounds official. Majority of the times, they probably do not have a bond at all. A lot of the times, they probably do not have insurance. You have to think of it this way. If you're having a contractor come into your home, they're in there with your property. They are working on your home, your electrical, plumbing, whatever they're working on. They could be cutting down a tree in your yard that could fall on your neighbor's car or your neighbor's house or your neighbor's kid. When you're hiring a contractor, you have to think of what's the risk involved, right? When they come into my house, what can they break? What can they, if they're doing work on something 2 years later, a pipe burst, who are you going to go after? How are you going to, be able to get that money back from the contractor? Or like I said, if they're chopping a tree down in your front yard and it falls over on your neighbor's house or car, you better bet that your homeowner's insurance is going to get involved in that, and you might be personally sued for it. So then who are you going to be able to subrogate against? So it's all about looking at the big picture. I know, you're excited about the remodel and you want your home to look all nice and new, but you also need to think about the risk involved too. Because, you want to make sure that you're protecting your own personal liability. And that's a really big thing to look for when you're hiring a contractor is, the contractors that actually spend the time and money on buying general liability insurance or buying builder's risk or even workers' comp. Those are some quality contractors that are spending money to make sure that they're adequately insured and that they're covering the homeowners that they work for. Some of the things to look for is you can actually ask them for a certificate of insurance. That's the simplest thing to start with. That's free for them to issue. Their agent can easily email you one, and then you would just ask for your name and address in the certificate holder place, and then you can see what insurance policies they have in place. And that's the best place to start. As far as a builder's risk standpoint, if you're doing a complete gut remodel, you definitely want to go to your personal lines agent and ask, hey, if I'm leaving my house, right, for 2 months while my house is being remodeled, is my home going to be covered? And then what is it going to be covered for? Is it going to be covering the existing structure? And is it also going to be covering what's going into it, the improvements part of it? Most of the times the good quality contractors out there that are remodeling your house are going to have a builder's risk policy in place that will cover your improvements part. And then it just depends on whether or not you're staying in the house or you're leaving the house, whether or not you need to ask about existing coverage. So those are the two big things that you want to kind of look for when you're looking at a contractor. Like I said, just think big picture, right? What damage can they do 2 years down the line? If a pipe bursts, how are you going to get a hold of them? If you sue them, are they going to have any money to pay you back? Or if they have a general liability policy, that's best case scenario. So those are just some quick tidbits on what to look for when you're hiring a contractor.
Thanks, Kristi. I appreciate your information. I always learn something new when I talk to you. And you're our go-to for our everything insurance. Is this a problem question? Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime.